Welcome to SethCraft. In this video, I'm continuing the build of this 10 by 12 outbuilding. And today, I'm going to be installing a window into the Tyvek right here. So if you're interested in that, continue watching. I'm using a razor knife to cut the Tyvek, and this needs to be cut in a specific pattern. So I'm going to find the top corner right up here, and I'm going to make a diagonal cut that's going to be about 3.5 to 4 inches down. Go down here to the bottom corner, do the same thing, find the corner, and then diagonal up about the same, 3.5, 4 inches, and do that on the other two corners. Once those cuts have been made, I'm going to now go up here and meet this diagonal at about the 3.5 inch mark and go straight across. Cut that out all the way. And then from the top, same deal. I'm going to go about 3.5 inches down. Meet down there. Go over to this side, same thing. Now the top's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to find the edge of the window sill here and just cut straight across. Stepping inside, I'm going to use this Tyvek tape to hold down the flaps here. Clean that up a little bit. So this right here is going to fold in and be taped around my bottom plate here. I may just toss a couple on the edges to make doing this process a little bit easier. Ideally, you would use a roller to make sure the Tyvek tape was pushed in. I'm just going to use the edge of a 2x4. Just make sure it's well pushed into the surface. I'm going to repeat those steps for both the sides. Just stick a piece of Tyvek tape on here to help my process go around this corner. Now I'm also going to use Tyvek tape here on the corners to make sure that there's no exposed wood. So I'm just going to go from all the way out here and around. I'm going to go up the wall as well. I also like to take a piece of this and fold it over and put it right in the corner, nice and smooth, and then you can fold that back up, and then the ends here can just be rounded over, and that makes sure that the corner is also nice and protected. And then once again, just use your roller or a block of wood to get this pushed down. After the bottom corners are done, I also do up here around the top to make sure there's no exposed wood. I'm going to use this window flashing to put here on the bottom seal, and I want to make sure I cut enough that I can go up the side about 4 inches. So let me fold this out here, and then I'm going to cut to about right here. This flashing has a peel off on the back. And I can find close enough to the middle of the window to set this down on, and then roll it out here. Make sure it's, there we go. Press that into the corners. Now this one doesn't stretch over all that great, but I'm just going to stretch the corners down a bit this, and then I can also use my same board to press that in. And one last piece of Tyvek tape to go around that top seam, just to make sure no water ever gets down to the wood below. Now, back up here at the top of the window, I'm going to continue that 45-degree cut up a bit so that I have the option to fold this flap up and put a piece of that window seal up under here. So I'm just going to continue at a 45-degree. A cut that's somewhere around 8 to 10 inches long will be just fine. There we go. I'm going to use a very small piece of this Tyvek tape to just hold this out of the way for now. I'm going to use some caulk around the top and both sides to place the window and hold and make a good seal. But I'm not going to put any caulk on the bottom, because if water ever does get into this, we want it to be able to find its way out here and not be stuck between the window and the building. So put a small bead of caulking around here and try to get it pretty close to the edge here so that the window will make a good solid connection. Time to install the vinyl window. I'm going to lift this up and put it into position, and then we're going to use a level to make sure that we have this where we want it. So maybe your side just a touch. Up, yeah. And now I'm going to be using some 2-inch screws to get this installed. And we'll go ahead and put a screw on every single one of these places that can take a screw. Now that I have the window completely fastened down with screws, I need to cut more of this window flashing to go here on the sides. And so I'm going to cut enough that I can go up about 2 or 3 inches above the top of the window, and then 2 or 3 inches below the window. So about right here should do it. And just like the bottom plate, I'm going to peel back on the back here and then press this in. Now I want it to go on top of that flange for the window, and it's going to help make a seal between the wall and the actual edge of the window. There we go. And just as I did with the other piece, I'm going to use a board to make sure all of that is flattened down nicely. If you have a roller, it does make this process a lot easier. If not, you can improvise. I need to cut one more piece of this flashing to go on top of the window. And for this one, I want to extend past the side piece that we just cut here by 1 inch or 2. Like that right there, on both sides. Okay, peel off the back of here, extend that out 1 inch or 2, and I'm going to make sure that the bottom of this fits into the groove here on top of the window. Now that I have the top flashing pushed down, I'm going to remove the tape up here on our piece of Tyvek, and that will fold back down over the flashing. And now it's just a matter of using the Tyvek tape here on the corners to make sure that it folds over and sticks here to the flashing. So taking this Tyvek tape, I'm going to overlap this corner on that diagonal cut that was made, come all the way down to the window, and then cut that piece down there. All right, so you can see how that is going to cover up that cut we made, and it's also going to make the seal up here. Now, sometimes I like to put a little extra piece of Tyvek right here on top of this to make sure there's no way water's going to get down in there. And the very last step here is to use one last piece of Tyvek tape to connect up here down to this right here. So let me get that done and we'll be finished here. This concludes the window install. So as a recap, we cut the diagonal pieces out of the Tyvek house wrap, and then we used the Tyvek tape to attach that Tyvek around the window frame. And then we used this flashing. And I didn't mention, but whenever we framed this window, we tilted this bottom plate so that any water that does get to it will find its way this direction. So after that, some caulking was applied, the window was put in place and leveled, and then we used the flashing here on the sides, the top, and then we also added up there the last piece so that any water that does come down will hit that and roll its way down this way. All right, let's give this window a test here. I'm going to unlock it and see if it will open. There we go. Works quite well. Close that back, lock it down. There we go. I hope you found this window install helpful. If you have, remember to hit that thumbs up button and be sure to subscribe. There's going to be several more videos in this series of building a 10 by 12 outbuilding, so make sure you stay tuned for all that content. I'm Seth with SethCraft, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.